everyone for attending this thing about such a, I guess, controversial, but also really important topic. We're here to briefly introduce Glimpse and then tell you a little bit about our approach to what's been called synthetic data. So Glimpse is a revolutionary insights platform. I like to think it's revolutionary anyway, where you can ask any question, find any audience in a fairly traditional way. You can also analyze any data source from old surveys to NPS data, to social media data, and then in the end, make smarter and faster decisions. And that's really what it comes down to. Neil is the founder and CEO of Glimpse. He is also our product wizard. He would normally be here today, but he is traveling. So you get the treat of watching Neil walk you through some of the platform features. Just before and just after, I'll give you a little bit of context. My name is Adam, and I lead strategy and client services for Glimpse. Just very briefly, we're proud to say that Adweek has said that we're changing the business of marketing. We have a lot of agency and enterprise brand clients, and we've been writing and thinking a lot about the future of customer understanding in the age of generative AI. Uniquely, I think, in the industry, we have generative AI solutions for every stage of the research, insights, content creation, and decision-making cycle, ranging from functionality like survey creation to a full suite of synthetic data options, which we call virtual customers, virtual personas, virtual segment chat, etc. And that's what we're going to be focusing on today. We've spent a lot of time researching and investing in these kinds of capabilities. A lot of clients have used them. Some of the most cutting edge ones are in beta or in alpha now. So we're really proud to be introducing those capabilities to you here today. We do get the basics right as well. We're really good at quick surveys, longitudinal surveys, targeting audiences, asking any kind of question. And we specialize in, and have since the very beginning of the history of Glimpse, open-ended questions and human language responses. And I would say that's really the genesis of the core of our commitment to using generative AI as a tool. So now we are going to show you a quick demo. Please see if you have any questions. Actually, it's not so quick. It's about 23 minutes, but please watch and let us know what you think.
Hi, everyone. My name is Neil Dixit, founder of Glimpse. Thank you for being here today. I want to apologize. I am not here live with you today, unfortunately. I am currently traveling in different parts of Europe, and I'm talking to you this morning from my hotel room. A few things is I want to just preempt this, is that we are really focusing on the overall category of today's presentation, which is synthetic data, AI generated data. Now, if you would like to see, a more holistic overview of our platform, which I recommend, then please reach out to us separately, and we're happy to take you through a demonstration of our entire platform, which is everything from the dashboard to being able to get real data from real people, other forms of AI, and so on. Okay, so we're going to be talking about a few different things. The first is AI customer on-demand chat, so being able to select a respondent, having the chat with them. Okay. Next is what we're calling data segment chat. So that's being able to select your entire data set or a subset of your data set and have a chat with it, ask it questions, ask it other hypothetical scenarios. And then lastly, we're going to be showing you a preview of both enriching your data set horizontally, so being able to ask more questions to the existing data set based on results. And then lastly, the ability to grow your data set vertically, so being able to add more respondents to your data set themselves. Okay, so let's get into the first one. So AI customer on-demand chat. So you might want to be able to have a conversation with individual respondents in your data set. As you're doing your analysis, you might be reading through comments and decide to say, oh, I want to talk to that person a bit more. So with our platform, we are able to pull out and extrapolate information about these people right? In real time, we're able to layer in first-party real data about the individual who took the survey. We pre-process that information, okay, on the Glimpse end, right? And then using a combination of demographic, firmographic, their actual real responses to their surveys and to their questions, as well as using examples of their own real language that they might have used in a survey, okay? And that allows us to be able to generate an AI version of this respondent, okay? So you might ask yourself, can I do this myself using GPT? I'd say give it a try, right? Try taking 1,000 or 5,000 responses from a survey and pasting it into GPT or uploading it into GPT and see what you get, right? It's pretty difficult to work with, right? You're going to get the combination of hallucinations, probabilistic or possibly inaccurate assumptions about who people are, with potentially little depth and context, right? So we feel we've risen to the challenge of being able to deliver enterprise level, customer chats or discussions that are both useful and reliable. So let's just give you a quick preview. So here is a study that we ran. You can actually see that this has been an ongoing tracker we're running. It has about 2,200 respondents so far over the course of 6 or 7 different waves. Okay. Again, like I mentioned, we're not going to be taking you through the vast majority of our functionality because there's a lot that we can show you. So we're really just focusing on the data creation, AI data creation aspect of things today. Okay. But just really quick, about 5 different questions that we're asked over the course of time. I can take a look at some basic results. On the right-hand side here, we also have a list of all of our demographics, different profile information about each respondent coming through. We can decide to click on various things to filter our dashboards and so on. Okay, so for our example, let's decide to go into our question about Gen AI and the future of work. This is an open-ended question. You can see that about 39, 40% of people are feeling positive about the future of work. You can see there's a correlation between that, and also there's different emotions and that people are selecting, such as caution, distrust, hope, interest, optimism. So you can already start to see that there's a bit of disparity here between the positives and the negatives. Okay, so for our example, let's decide to filter in to different sets of people. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down to our automatic, coding area of the platform, so you can see different people are talking about job markets, efficiency and productivity. Let's decide to click into that. Then you can see a different breakout of some of the different subtopics that have been automatically coded into the open-ended question. Okay, so let's filter down to those who are 18 to 34 years old. Okay, and then now I'm going to select male. So you can see our baseline is changing dynamically. Okay, we're down now to 297 people, and I'm going to click now on this automation of tasks. Okay, so males, talking about automation of tasks. Okay, we're down to 13 people. Okay, and now here's their actual comments for this particular question. Okay, so person here saying, I see Gen AI replacing more transactional types of jobs and being a very good tool for more complex jobs, automation, sales, teaching, etc. It's a pretty interesting answer. I wonder who this person is. They are a 27-year-old male from Tampa, Florida. They are married. He doesn't have any pets. He drives an Audi TT. He's a Republican. His wife is pregnant, and he is educated and makes about 80 grand a year. Okay, and then you can see the other answers to his other questions. So at this point, I might decide that I want to have a conversation with him. Maybe I want to ask him some more questions. So if I click on chat with this persona, what this does is it creates a virtual version of this person. Okay, so you can see I've already actually had a small chat with them, just asking them some questions, and we can ask them some more. First question I asked him is, what are your thoughts on the future of work? Right, he's linking, and this is really just reiterating some of the things he's already said, right, which is he leans towards thinking it'll be heavily influenced by AI and tech, making some roles outdated while creating new types of jobs that we haven't thought about before. And then I asked him another question about the future of work, what's it going to look like in 5 years. And he's like, probably much more remote and tech-driven, with AI cutting out branches of routine jobs, but also opening up new avenues that we cannot fully yet predict. Also an interesting answer. I'm asking him further about automation. Automation is going to keep him growing, taking over more repetitive stuff, making efficiency the name of the game in pretty much every field. And I just decided to ask him again to reiterate how old he is, 27 years old, which is confirming what he said previously. And then I asked him to just tell me about himself. And you can see he more or less reiterated a lot of the stuff that he's already answered in his profile information. Okay. I can also decide to ask him questions that might not be related to the data set, right? So I can be like, and when I ask him this particular question, you can see that he's not big on watching sports, but he does appreciate the technology and stats involved in them. Okay, and then I can decide to ask what other questions I want. The great thing about this is it really does allow you to be able to dig into what they have already said, right? To really just cut to the chase. But then you can also use the power of this persona that we've created based on probabilistic data, right? So first-party data is creating this probabilistic version of this person that you're able to ask to be able to get more information about what this person probably would say, based on all of these different data points, right? For him, it looks to be about 20, 25 different data points that are collected in first party that allows us to generate this AI, virtual version of this person. Okay. I'm going to stop right here, and then we'll move on to the chat with segment. Thank you. So that brings us to data segment chat. With data segment chat, you have the ability to chat with both the entire data set or with data segments, and you can have ongoing conversations with them. Okay, so it's similar to customer on demand that I just showed you, but again, with this, we also take in real data in real time. That's first party. We pre-processed everything on our end in the LLM systems. Again, also including demographic and other profile information about them, their answers to the actual survey questions, and allows us to generate an AI version of a group of respondents. Okay. From here, we inject actual crosstab information also about the different segments of people, and allows us to be able to look at key differences between groups, and then have conversations, ask it about different scenarios, both real as well as hypothetical. Okay. Okay, so for chat with segments, and we're back in our study here, and you can see what we're going to do is we're going to filter down to a certain subset of the population. In our example, you can see we have a question here about hobbies and interests, and we're going to filter down to people who have an interest in technology and computers. So that brings us down to 451 people. Of course, we can view our other results based on that and so on, but let's have a chat instead. So first, we're going to decide which segments or which different, crosstabs, or different groups of people are important for the analysis. So we chose time-based distribution. You have about 7 different waves in here. We're also taking a look at it by gender, by political affiliation, right, and by age. Okay, and then of course I can add other ones. And then once I add those, I can save it. And then I can click into my AI conversations. Okay, and then you can see I've already actually asked a couple of different questions here. So the first one was, tell me about this segment. You can see it gives you a pretty good description of this segment, taking a look at all the different questions themselves, as well as demographic breakouts, and then identifying some key areas of difference here. It's talking about age being less, younger groups being less concerned about the impact of Gen AI. And then I asked it about how things might have shifted over time. And again, you can see that it is showing you just some, for every question, just some of the key areas in which things might have shifted over time, effect on employee behavior. You can see that there's a decrease in the neutral viewpoint from 42% to 36% by January, right? And then again, it's doing the same thing for concerns and for skills for a future of AI. And then let me ask it one more question. I'm going to say key areas of difference with regards to gender. And usually this takes about 5-10 seconds to start generating, because again, this is in real time, taking this data that exists about these people. It's pre-processing on our end and having the LLM generate the response. So you can see that the survey data indicates some key areas of difference with regards to gender in how individuals perceive the impact of Gen AI on the future of work and what skills will be important. And again, you can see it generating it, talking about breaking things out by question. First one being concerns about AI and the impact of work. Females appear slightly more likely to be concerned. Again, it's summarizing your top two box for females versus males. And then again, getting into some differences here about skills. Males seem to place a higher emphasis on technical proficiency. Females show a greater concern for human-centric skills. For creativity and innovation, females highlight this slightly more than males, suggesting a belief that AI cannot replace human creativity, and so on and so on. All right. And of course, you can decide to ask it other questions that are not related to their data set. So there was no questions about robotics in the data set, right? And what this is going to do now is it's going to take all the first party information it has about these people, right? And then use that as a foundation to answer this question, okay? So again, you can see that it's mentioning the word probable here. So it's probable there would be a significant level of interest in robotics among this group, primarily due to the fact that that hobbies indicated interest in technology and computers. And again, you can see some interesting tidbits of information here that it's generating both in first-party portions, right, and then as well as probabilistically based on what it knows and inferring some information about this group. All right. And lastly, this brings us to enriching and growing your data sets. There are two main use cases here. The first is enriching, which allows you to add more data horizontally by asking additional questions to the entire data set. Okay, so let's say that you have a data set that has maybe 500 people and it might have 15 or 20 questions, and you realize you need to ask more questions. Our AI will analyze the data for you, help you come up with additional questions to ask, and then answer them for you using AI versions of each respondent. Okay, so that's growing horizontally. And then second is growing your data set vertically, which allows you to add more respondents, right? So let's say you have a data set that has 1,000 people in it, and who have answered your survey, and you realize that you need to add an additional 500 people, or maybe you realize that you don't have enough of a certain subset of a missing population. So you can use Glimpse to find those additional people, and it'll create AI versions of these respondents and have them answer your questions. Okay, so let's show you some examples of that. Okay, so here is an example of a study where we have about 100 people, okay, 11 questions. Of course, we can decide to look at it the normal way that we might take a look at our results, right? This is a study about video gamers who shop at Walmart, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have the Glimpse AI system create some additional questions based on the results of this study and have it come up with additional questions, as well as have it answer those additional questions for the 100 response that we have in there. Okay, so how am I going to do that? I'm going to come back in and I'm going to click into my area where I can get more data. Okay, of course, we can launch it to real people, or we can decide to have it launched to additional, AI versions, virtual respondents. I'm going to click into my enriching data that I spoke about a minute ago. We can create additional questions one at a time. I can create them myself manually, or I can decide to have the AI come up with additional responses or additional questions for us. So what this is doing is it's essentially feeding in the actual results of the study, okay, to be able to generate additional questions. We're going to have it generate 3 new questions for us. Okay, a question about motivation in terms of choice, another question about aspects of in-store shopping experiences, and another one here about aspects of online shopping experiences. I'm going to have it generate one more question, which is going to be an open-ended question. Okay, another question here about sharing an instance when the availability or lack of a specific video game in title at Walmart has influenced your decision to purchase or not purchase. Okay, I'm happy with my questions. I click on approve, and you can see that they actually get created into our question editing area. Of course, we can create new ones. We can edit them. We can reorder them. We can add some skip logic, whatever we want. At that point, I'm happy. And then once I click on submit here, this will generate the actual responses to these questions for our original base size of 100 people in the survey. So what does that look like? So you can see our example here. It's the same data set where we actually have added in, 3 new questions, okay? And what I've done is I've already filtered into people feeling positive who are male, okay? And then who are interested in interactive gaming solutions. And in particular, they answered demonstration stations for trying games. Okay. And then here's their responses. So these responses here are all created by our AI system. So here's a guy who's mentioned maybe they could set up demo stations for more games. It'd be cool to try a game before buying it. So that was the AI that created that. But this is based on a real person. So all this information here, the 24-year-old male who has a cat and a dog, who makes about 35 grand a year, plays 1 to 2 games a week, right? All these responses up until question 11, this is all real. And then question 12, 13, and 14, these were all created by our AI system, simulating this person as to how he would answer. Okay? So that's just a quick preview as to what that looks like. Okay, really quickly, I want to show you what the system looks like when it comes to growing the data. Okay, so this portion here is taking our existing 100 responses, right? Maybe you want to add 100 more responses, right? So you can do that by growing data. Click here. I'm going to call this on my demo, data grow. I want to generate 100 more responses in English, right? In the United States. and I'm going to use my existing profiling from this particular study, which is video gamers. Right? And then what that does here is it brings up our ability to actually pre-select all the different profiles that might exist, that actually do exist in this data set. If I wanted to, I could decide to add in additional quotas. Maybe I want to add in additional qualifiers in here. So there's quite a bit you can do here, right? So, and then at that point, I'm happy with this. I can decide to click in next and then submit. And this is going to generate a set of additional questions for us. All right. So that was just a quick preview. Thank you again, everyone, for your time today. Please reach out to our team for additional questions, and looking forward to speaking soon. Thank you very much.
Hey everyone. As good as we are at thinking about synthetic data, we are not as good at time management. So unfortunately, you won't have time for questions. That said, that's a shame because we would really like to chat with you. So please do reach out, not just about our product, but to continue a conversation about the frontiers of synthetic data, and more importantly, about the intersection of audience understanding and generative AI. And I just want to say really quickly, this stuff is tested, and we are testing it with real clients. One I can mention right now is HubSpot, where some of this stuff that Neil just showed you is informing HubSpot's thought leadership strategy. We can show you what that looks like and talk to you about what that's like, as well as some other client use cases. So this stuff is being extensively tested with real leading organizations in the world. The second thing I want to say, to be somewhat provocative, is we refuse the terms of the question that Greenbook put to us. That is, we don't think that there's a choice between synthetic sample and real sample. We think that the two will have to coexist into the future, and you will see that our approach to synthetic is very much built on a foundation of real sample, both the demographic and firmographic data points and histories of first-party responses to questions, the real ways in which people talk and think about the world. We're extremely excited to introduce some of this to you. So we ask that you reach out. We may have time for one more question or one question now. So I will stop talking if there's a question in the audience.
Hi, Adam. Yeah, we do have time for a question. What would you say is most unique about Glimpse's approach to what the market has been calling synthetic data? Did I lose you?
I'm here. I'm here. Just go ahead and ask again. I think there was a blip.
Okay. What would you say is most unique about Glimpse's approach to what the market has been calling synthetic data?
Great question. And really quickly, I would say our commitment to layering synthetic data into other research processes and drawing on the full power and full integrity of more traditional approaches to research as well. So we're all in favor of getting real goods from real people in a very targeted way. Our commitment is to doing that. We see synthetic data, or what we're calling virtual sample, virtual customers, as a way to extend and enrich that foundation of real data, real research, real questions to folks, as opposed to a kind of alternative to it. And we really want to start a conversation about what it means to refuse that choice, and to actually think about what a fundamentally intertwined approach looks like, where we're combining the best of traditional approaches with the best of virtual or synthetic approaches. And we're here to do that. So please reach out if you want to talk with us about that fundamental commitment.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Adam. And thanks to our attendees for being here. We'll see you over in the next session.